Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, on this Magic Monday for another daily cryptocurrency market update. I'm wishing you all a great start to your weeks. As always, we have a lot to go over. We're going to be focusing primarily on the crypto space. I'm going to be telling you why, based on data, I believe people looking and speculating on the cryptocurrency right now are very early in what we've assessed is likely going to be an uptrending market ahead up until, potentially the end of 2024, potentially the start of 2025, where we are going to have that landing of sorts. But we're going to be spending the first half of the video looking at inflows, digital asset inflows. We're going to be looking at Google Trends in relation to crypto and Delta when it comes to the crypto space. We're then going to be looking in regards to inflows, liquidity. We're then going to be looking at a quick tweet from Chainlink. It's actually an old thing that they've tweeted, but very applicable in regards to anything that can be tokenized will be. And then we'll get onto the markets. Bitcoin, of course, having a bit of a pullback today, along with the altcoins. It's always over-exaggerated in the altcoin market. However, this is fine. This is okay. And this is part of an uptrend. An uptrend is not just one big straight line up. There's going to be pullbacks, peaks and troughs within that. And we are going to be looking at that and then relating things to the dollar. Dollar, very importantly, this week has the likes of the CPI coming up tomorrow, and we're going to look at the expectations there. So we have a lot to get into. Strap yourselves in, guys. Let's begin by taking a look. And this is becoming a bit of a thing. We've actually been using CoinShares digital funds and the report that they publish every Monday as a good way to start the Monday and kind of look at things. And we can see in their most recent report, published literally just, we have, again, inflows into digital assets, likely from an institutional point of view, to the tune of $293 million, bringing this 7-week run of inflows past the $1 billion mark. So this is pretty significant. Bitcoin ETP trading volume made up as much as nearly 20% of the total Bitcoin trading volumes. Suggests ETP investors are anticipating much more in the rally compared to 2020, 2001. So with the topic of you guys being early, we're seeing Grayscale's funds. We were one of the first people to show the likes of Grayscale's Bitcoin fund as a kind of a lead indicator. Their Chainlink fund and all the others, digital cap funds, digital large cap funds, they're all getting aggressive inflows. However, when you look at, and we're going to come on to it in a second, sort of retail, it's a lot more, although retail is a part of it, institutionally driven this initial rally at a key point of breaking out, this kind of crossing now from a sideways market into now a breaking out and an uptrending market. This initial breakout is largely led by institutions. And this is how things work in the kind of markets, guys. Smart money is usually first, and then they'll push it onto retail. And this all lines in with our over broader macro thinking of things in regards to the relationship between rates and markets. Markets go up every single time there's rate hikes and actually often go on and put in new all-time highs more times than not. And we're expecting the same thing for the likes of the S&P when we've looked at that correlation. And of course, that's going to have repercussions over to the crypto space. So in my opinion, we've got a good time ahead of us. We're seeing the fruits of that. Of course, Bitcoin is pulling back slightly today. But it's quite interesting that we are seeing the institutional exchange, more accessible to institutional exchange traded products, really get inflows. And, if we compare this with crypto liquidity, Delta year on year, largely we haven't really seen anything yet. And many things are breaking out. Also, if you look at the likes of Google Trends, you can see crypto really is still in the doldrums in regards to searches. If we type in Bitcoin, likely be a little bit more exaggerated. But you can see, we're still really in bear market doldrums in regards to the space as a whole, which is, I think, very telling. And again, we always see smart money get in first. And you can see, altcoins really still at a real low point. So you are early. You are seeing some real aggressive inflows. I mean, if we look at, let's scroll all the way down here. If you look at the top, the bottom right of my screen, this is our sort of crypto stocks, if you will, exchange traded products, along with Coinbase miners and stuff. But if you look at the above Coinbase upwards, this is all Grayscale's products. And actually, we were trading GBTC. We made out like a bandit on this. You can see the sort of inflows you're seeing here. Couple that with retail and their sort of participation. This is predominantly institutional, which is very encouraging. And of course, we've largely been accumulating. If you look at our portfolio, we are now in the green significantly. It's been a very good year. We've got Patreons that are making or up significantly, and that's due to their own hard work. We just sort of reflect what we're doing in a very open and transparent way in regards to our portfolio and building it. But our portfolio, I think we only have something like 4 of our altcoins that are actually down, and it's a very small part of our overall portfolio. The rest of it is up massively. And people say a lot when it comes to markets, but in my opinion, it's all about who actually can make money out of them and who can't, because that's the ultimate decider. So anyone that wants to come on that journey with me, of course, these daily market updates are great. We give you our overall view of the markets and the direction. But if you want to find out what I'm buying and where, what my portfolio consists of, learn some courses and other things, and get weekly meetings with me, do consider becoming a Patreon. So you are early. This is largely institutional driven. Don't forget, guys, to come and check out allincrypto.com. We're publishing an absolute load of articles. Last week, we had news of an Ethereum exchange traded product and now an Ethereum ETF. It's coming. The floodgates are opening. And coupling that with what we've just spoken about with institutions largely, Ethereum really led this. If you look at inflows, Ethereum is massive. That's to do with the exchange and the things going on with BlackRock. Institutions are positioning now to reap the rewards later, and they're going to try and pump it to the masses into, I could even see the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory playing out again. So you are early. Let's move on to the next little bit that we've got for you, because I don't want to make this too long. This is a tweet from Chainlink. Now, we love Chainlink. We've been accumulating Chainlink throughout the entire range that it's in. It's now broken out. It's going to be impulsive, and it's going to keep going. You will have pullbacks along the way if you want to take advantage of those. But almost anything of value can be tokenized, and tokenization of financial and real-world assets could be the killer use case blockchains need to drive a breakthrough. This, of course, was from Citigroup. This is them looking at assets generally. You've got quadrillions that's going to be tokenized and facilitated through blockchains, some on public, some on private. It's coming, it's here. And some of the cryptos that we look at today are going to be some of the beneficiaries of them. Certainly the likes of Chainlink, which is a key part of the infrastructure of tomorrow. And actually yesterday, for those of you that haven't watched yesterday's video, we played a clip of someone at a fintech conference who is really part of the mortgage market, essentially saying mortgages are going to be on the blockchain because it makes sense, right? Everything, debt itself, currency, representations of assets, derivatives, it's all going to be blockchain based, and you're early in that trend. Let's get into Bitcoin before we dive into the dollar and a little bit about what's to come. Bitcoin having a bit of a pullback. This is fine, right? This is totally fine. If you look at where Bitcoin's ran into, and we've been so on the money in regards to Bitcoin. Where have you ran into? You've ran into your first little bit of volume. So we said you were going to slice through this very quickly because of the lack of volume, and now you're running into a bit of volume. So you could get some sort of a coiling up here. It could just go straight through. A lot of hype behind Bitcoin right now. Some of our altcoins are absolutely flying. But generally, the space is going in the right direction. If we drop down to total, or let's take out Bitcoin and Ethereum because we're more predominantly in the altcoin market. Look at this. This is a market that hasn't even broken out yet. This is just getting into a breakout, and then you're going to see that real nice little uptick in volume. It's all still to come, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, a large part of the Bitcoin story and the general risk story, stock market's doing exactly as we've expected it to do. This is going higher, in my opinion. But a large part of that has to do with the dollar and getting the dollar right. If we look at risk against the dollar, we really ran into a bit of trouble with inflation spiking back in July, which is where the dollar gained strength. We did assess, and you can see dollar gaining strength, inflation fears. Look at what happened with risk. They took a real tumble. We assessed a fundamental point back at the start of October for the dollar based on the weekly candle and a potential shooting star, maybe an early signing that you were going to get a reversal of this short-term trend, and risk done well since then. In order for it to continue, it's my opinion that the dollar has to roll. And I think you're getting some pretty good feedback from the dollar in regards to that playing out. This, of course, is a range that I think you broke with momentum to the downside on non-farm. You're now coming up. You're probably likely going to get pinned under this EMA, or simple moving average, sorry, not an EMA, not an exponential, and then see that further downside. And remember, we're expecting a bull market. It's going to be largely dependent on the direction of the dollar, of course, because when you're looking at the dollar, really, what are you looking at? You're looking at almost kind of like a flight to safety. You know, when the dollar's doing well, typically risk isn't doing as well. But you're potentially just in a broader range here and looking perhaps to retest the downside of this into a recession. Boom, you're off. And the dollar, given where it's at and given, you know, it's having a bit of a, after this aggressive move to the downside, it's tracing a little bit of it. Some of your ICT traders will be looking at fair value gaps in here. You know, it's likely going to get pinned under. And I think the catalyst for that, once you're taking this low, you're now in a confirmed downtrend. The catalyst for that is likely going to be CPI. So CPI is expected, having come out hotter than wanted for the past 2 prints. It's likely going to come out the consensus 3.3. So that's a drop. Less room for rates, so on and so forth with that, or less need for them. This could be the catalyst to the dollar to the downside, which is that continuation for the crypto space. You're going to have pullbacks along the way, guys. You know, this is very strong. Ultimately, we'll see how long this lasts. But our altcoin market's getting rocking and rolling. Remember, we gave you a load of altcoins the other day. Filecoin was one where we were pointing out here. VRA, which having a nasty pullback, is still massively up from where we called the breakout. I think Quant was another one. And we'll revisit these altcoins. We're not just going to give you altcoins that are on a short-term breakout and then leave you there. We'll revisit all these. And I think GRT was one as well that we gave you. Yeah. So that's all I've got for you guys in this video. Yeah. Have a great Monday. You know, the trend, the direction is up. You're early in that if you're a participant in the crypto space right now. That's my opinion. It's not financial advice. And yeah, let the good times roll, guys. A lot of you have sort of withered the storm. It's my second time withering a crypto sort of winter. And this time was a lot easier given the sort of knowledge that I'd learned in the past one. And some of you may be going for it for the first time. You're going to take that knowledge with you forwards and apply it to all markets and do very well. I'm sure of it, guys. All I've got for you in this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.